right, hello, welcome to Adventures in Lollygagging. We are back to playing some Werewolf the Apocalypse tonight. And the Weaver was being a real pain in the ass before stream went live. I think Jacques' view of the world is vindicated, and Lou is clearly
absolutely not.
Yep, I think so. But yeah, we're gonna pick up exactly where we left off, or close enough to it, as we were dealing with a giant kaiju spirit thingy that is eating stuff, and we'll see how it resolves. Why don't we do a quick little intro and then we'll get started? So Jeremy, tell us what you liked most about Eustace.
He's just a nice, well-balanced, happy guy that meant well. And I think my favorite thing is he made sure to leave a note that he wants on his tombstone to say he meant well.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Do you have all your finances and such in order for what's going to happen with Heart and Soul?
Probably not.
Probably it's just gonna revert to the sept or something. Okay, fair enough. Selena, why aren't you angrier? You have zero rage apparently. What's that about?
I do have zero rage. I just, it's embarrassment at this point. It's the I've got the one thing I can do. It's jump really high and really far. And then I landed flat on my face. And now I'm just sort of mopey dog, hanging head. Yeah, that's that. Okay. It doesn't sound very rage filled. That sounds a bit defeated. So
fair enough.
That's the current state of my theurge from Children of Gaia.
There you go. And then Duke, how many of your pack would need to plunge into this kaiju neighborhood thing for Duke to actually follow the pack in?
I don't think there is a number. Duke values his life, and Duke also recruited 5 young pups. So or 4, however many they are.
There's 5. Right? Yeah, 5.
Yeah, Duke has he's a traveled man. This is not his first pack.
Okay. Oh wow, guys, did you hear that?
Yeah.
Does anyone ask what happened to his last pack? You should start.
No,
I assume they just got sick of him and kicked him out.
Yeah, there's just too much riz,
That's why I changed too much riz. Oh god,
not enough drip.
Not enough drip. Too much riz. Okay.
I still don't know what that means.
Yeah, it's probably better off.
Sorry, Aaron.
We don't use it anymore. Lou, can you tell us why Weaver was not letting Jeremy connect to Zoom tonight?
Well, Jeremy did not give his proper tribute to the Zoom Weaver. That meant that he needed to be blocked until certain updates occurred that were then provided as tribute.
You're saying giving it the finger isn't tribute?
Is that what you're doing? Right in front of the webcam, just put it right there. Oh, right. I know you can see it.
Okay. It consumed enough anger and emotion from Jeremy that it could then power itself better.
Oh, I just had to lose the wolf.
Yeah. Oh god. Okay. And then finally, Aaron, I think Jacques took out 3 people last time around.
Yeah, he was tearing spines and biting heads off, having a good time.
There's a total of somewhere in 30 to 35 or so people here. Over under 10 more kills tonight for Jacques, you think?
I'm gonna go over. If things go well, we're gonna have to go, because they all have to die. They've seen things they can't take away with them. So
Yep, that is true.
And Lou is not going to stop him in this instance.
Well, you screwed up with their helicopter, so they can't get away now. So you got gremlins all running around. All right. Why don't we start up then? Last session, you all returned to Gaia's Grove briefly. You delivered Hector, having discovered him from the Stargazers down by Florence, Arizona, and you debriefed Adora about what was going on. And there was a little bit of discussion, but eventually you decided to head back to this Whispering Sand site / Echo Labs coordinates. Before leaving, Lou, you did ask Titan to keep an eye on Hector and try to make sure he doesn't do anything stupid. By the time you guys got back to Whispering Sands, it was nighttime, and the pack discovered that Echo Labs and probably their locker room security friends had already returned. They had set up all these big old floodlights around this neighborhood, and there was a bunch of specialty equipment and such, and including a large digital clock that was counting down when you were doing some recon, you noticed there were these physical tethers that were being run from some kind of device into the actual neighborhood itself. And there was some very clear signs that someone had gone inside and was tethered to those cables, and they were tracking that using the clock. Jacques, Lou, Duke, you ran into a little bit of trouble. You found a few mercs. They were not prepared for werewolves, as they didn't really have any silver weapons or ammunition, and so you dispatched them fairly easily. Lou, you also, like we just said, you sabotaged their helicopters. You used your gremlins to kind of screw that up a little bit. And then you snuck over to like the staging ground area for the Echo Lab study. And Duke, you kind of sort of yelled for aid from the Stargazers, but we haven't followed up on that yet. Let's see, other things. Hoping to find missing SEP members. Eustace bravely sped inside that neighborhood, no tether. And while inside, heard some Annie Lennox, which drew him to a cul-de-sac where he saw a very large dining table surrounded by about a dozen or more people, all who were like dressed sort of anachronistically. They weren't dressed for modern times. And at the center of this table was a platter that held the skin body of a werewolf. And also from the dark sky above, a bloody pelt fell before you, and you were able to recognize the pelt as being that of Rosie from your sept, based upon the color scheme and pattern. Later, as you were carrying that body and that pelt around, you heard a tinking sound, and you saw a carport, which was different from all the other homes which had garages. And you went inside this dark carport. And then when you turned around, you saw there was a TV screen that suddenly appeared in the driveway behind you with a documentary narrated by David Attenborough about like blacksmithing in the Old West or something like that. And that's where we ended on that. So we're going to pick up outside. Let's figure out what's going outside before we push further into the weirdness. So I believe Lou, Selena, and Duke are all in the staging, sort of that staging ground area, or hidden and near it. I think all of you have communicated at this point. Jacques might not be immediately with you. He might be separated because I think you might still be in Krenos. So let's start with the three then that are together. So Selena, Lou, Duke, you see this digital clock counting down, handful of Echo Labs technicians around, all sorts of strange, monitors and devices and equipment, et cetera, et cetera. What do the three of you do in this situation? We'll assume you're in a position where you can communicate, quietly without giving it away. So what do you want to do?
I'm currently robbing their tent still. And I will take that telescope at some point in time.
Okay. Other ideas?
So Selena will go over to Duke, and she'll kind of find him, and she'll kind of be like, so you can do the thing, right?
Oh, you want me to do the thing?
Yeah, I could use the
Sure, I can do it.
because Eustace went in, and
I feel like that wasn't the plan.
well,
I felt like we had a
was-
discussion on like what to do, and like we would all go in together if we needed to. And I don't know, what are we supposed to do now?
Well, probably try to go in after him, but I should not go in the state that I am currently in, because it's almost like she tries to howl, and it's just sort of this like, like noise. It's
A
just
duck
like
quack.
pathetic.
Yeah, Duke will do the Song of Rage, and maybe the Song of Rage is in earshot. Maybe Eustace can hear it and it can help guide him in some way, but I don't know.
Okay, so if you're doing the song, the one thing I will say is that since the song is literally a song and it is going to hopefully, possibly reach Eustace, it does mean that the people around are going to probably hear it too. So
It's okay. She wants to go Krenos and eat people.
Or
so.
you could just do the other way that you can get rage and just like.
Oh.
You
You want to do the thing that we did that one time?
Yeah, like, and it's just kind of going to be like, oh yeah, you probably shouldn't. That might carry. And that
See
would be bad to
Duke's
give away our
head cock, and then like without hesitation, like right in the face. I just had so much pent up anger recently. I don't really fight, so like this is the best I get sometimes.
why does no one listen to me?
Why did he go inside on his own?
Why did we
had a
even plan?
Okay. Sure.
I now
take a point.
have a rage.
Okay. All right, Lou, while that was going on, what do you want to do? Like, what were you doing? Because you're currently in your special stealthy thing. You have your new ability that's kind of essentially making you next to invisible.
Yes.
As you're sifting around, and you can tell that all of these technicians, there's a couple here, they're looking at these monitors. Some of them are, kind of staring down that kind of strange, almost steampunkian telescope that's like shifting and looking down that dark entryway into the neighborhood. They haven't noticed you yet. They haven't responded to any of the craziness happening elsewhere. It's not their job. I mean, their job is to deal with this. So they're not carrying weapons that you can see. You don't see any of them have weapons or anything like that. So what do you want to do, Lou?
Well, twofold. You mentioned last week that there was an image up on the wall of what appeared to be the creature or something with like a core in it.
Yeah, so it sort of looks like to you like you kind of have a cross section, like they have on one of the like it's almost like imaging software. So like they're almost like they're doing some kind of cross section of the creature itself, and so you can kind of see that vaguely familiar like bulbous shape that you saw when you were inside the Umbra, except theirs is like almost active. Like you can see like the different layers are various colors, and they're shifting here and there.
I want that. I'm taking that first. Essentially, the way that Lou views this is a map. Is it maybe we can use? Do I know that Eustace has gone inside yet? Because I haven't talked to Selena directly.
I know Selena and Duke have interacted directly. Selena, did you tell Lou?
I think Duke was the first person that I saw, because I think Lou was already in the tent when
All right, so
Selena came over.
Lou, you would probably be unfamiliar. When you say you're taking this thing, are you like downloading it onto a device that you have, or are you trying to literally pick the giant monitor off the wall of the tent?
I suppose it might be more logical for me just to put my phone up and take a picture of the thing. And then I'm going to wait for the inevitable chaos that is Jacques' Quiet Claw to come through and kill all the humans so I can take the telescope.
Okay. Well, we will cut then too.
And I will
Jacques.
watch take a look at the telescope and then take the telescope.
So Jacques,
Once he's
we're back to you. You're a little bit further away from the rest of them. You just finished killing another one of these security guards that I think was the one that Duke had kind of hypnotized with his ability. Yeah. Last we saw, I think you were in Krenos. What does Jacques do?
So Jacques his nose is in the air. He's sniffing. His head's on a swivel. He's just looking for, what he considers to be the virus attacking the Green Mother. Any living human being, and he is just going to attack. He understands they all have to die, so
awareness test would probably make the most sense in this case. Awareness and we'll say wits to sort of track down the nearest or perhaps the most sort of threatening, something like that.
3 successes.
Okay, so I would say blood was probably pumping quite warm right now. You would probably know somewhere deep down that they likely set up some sort of perimeter, and that relatively interspersed in even like integrals, like there's probably other sentries near about. And as you look, you can see in one direction there's tents and things and weird devices, but then in the other direction, we'll say counterclockwise, you can kind of get the whiff, you think, of not just more human, but you like oil and metal, and the scent of weaponry, like human weaponry, and that's kind of arcing, we'll say counterclockwise, so to speak.
What kind of distance are we thinking? Am I thinking?
Nowhere that would take you too long to get there. Probably you'd probably end up having to sort of do a burn of willpower for the will for staying in Krenos. Like I don't think you're going to be able to get there in turn. But
how close am I to the tent?
Oh, you can get there almost right away. Yeah.
So that's what he'll do first, because that's where he saw the rest of his pack going off. And he just wants to make sure they're fine. So he'll go tearing through a wall of a tent and try to eviscerate the first human he sees.
So you rip through the wall of a tent. I'm going to see if it's the one that Lou just happens to be in. This is totally random. There's like 3 tents It is not. You just rip through them and you knock things left and right, and there's these two scientists that are staring over top of basically one of those CSI kind of backlit tables, like they're looking down, everything's glowing, and you burst through the claw of the tent or the tarp, and you're dripping in blood and viscera from the rest of them, and they look up. And they start screaming as I think they are actually going to suffer the delirium here, to be honest, as even though they're not mundane humans, they have not worked with werewolves before. So the fact that they are seeing werewolves and haven't been specifically briefed for this. So let me just do a quick roll.
And this werewolf specifically will scare the shit out of you.
One of them just starts running, and so it's like runs out the side of the tent. So the tent itself, we'll assume like the flaps are back, and so they're open, and it just starts to run into the middle of this little landing area where that giant telescope is, the monitoring is, etc. And that one starts to run. The other one is just freezing, and just looking at you, eyes wide, like windows from the thing, and is just really staring up at you.
So Jacques' goal is to tear the head off of the one that's staring up at him and then throw the head at the back of the head of the one running away.
Okay, we don't need a roll for these guys. What's your total? We'll just take half. So what's your total pool? And then give me half of that.
Half of my total pool is 6.
Okay, that's more than enough to kill this one, as they have a grand total of 3 health. And so we'll say in doing so, you just one claw right across the chest, the other claw pops the head off, and you just hurl it. And then with that, I'll say the 3 successes will go towards killing one, and we can say the other 3 successes goes towards hitting the other one. It's not going to kill him, but it'll like knock him down as you throw the head, and it conks them in the back of the head, and they go stumbling down to the ground. They turn around, they look, and they see the rolling, decapitated head that is still moving while the body of their former colleague just falls to the ground, and their screams just become loud as can be.
As they look back, they see Jacques is grabbing the spurting blood and coating his fur in it as he stares at this guy on the ground.
And so with that, I'm going to say all of the other technicians now hear this scream. They look up. They see the guy lying on the ground. They see the head rolling around. They look up. They see a Krynos werewolf. And I'm going to, again, roll some deliriums. Okay. So 2 more people run. And I'm going to say... Okay, one of them runs northward towards like the mountains to the north where the stargazers were, and one of them runs into the neighborhood. The other 2 literally fall, and like they're kind of like doing the covering their head, and they're whimpering on the ground. So you've got one on the ground with a decapitated head next to it, 2 that are kind of doing a putting like kind of protective arms over their heads, and one running off to the north into the darkness, and one running into the neighborhood. Okay. So the rest of you in that area now see things have changed. So Selena and Lou and Duke, you see carnage has come, as there is Jacques. What did the 3 of you do in response to all of this?
As the scientists are moving, this is my opportunity. Let's look through the telescope. And then I'm stealing it.
This is
I don't know why you expect anything different from me.
Eustace can
8-foot
disappear
telescope just in her
and,
backpack.
I don't know about Eustace. Eustace is like, no information on that has read me.
Lou, when you look in the telescope here, this
I see
giant
Eustace
device,
and the creature getting dicey.
you see, okay, so what you basically see is not unlike what you sometimes see in the Umbra, which is how things don't appear in their sort of physical world shape. But you see this kind of like superimposed image of what appears to be the spirit and its various tendrils and membranes and organs and other things like that. But then you also see the physical, the physical buildings themselves, the neighborhood. So this telescope seems to somehow reveal part of the spirit world, which is in and of itself fairly alarming that humans have it. But it is not also that far removed from your spectral goggles. It just seems to be a little bit different.
I'm also taking this now and leaving the tent.
Okay. It's quite big. So,
I figured, yes.
Okay. And then Duke and Selena, what are you doing in reaction to Jacques, the most violent Kool-Aid man appearance ever?
And Selena will just sort of look at Duke and just kind of be
Duke
like,
just can't.
are we just killing everybody?
Duke will look at the bloodthirsty Jacques and say, Jacques, God damn it, just kill the ones with guns. These guys aren't even doing anything.
And he growls back. I mean, you understand it. Obviously, nobody else would. They're enemies of the mother. They know too much. They cannot be allowed to take what they know with them.
Eustace is inside. They might know how to get in or something. Don't kill them all.
We'll leave one alive to interrogate.
That's gonna like pass out from.
So I think what we actually see is the giant Krynos dripping in blood. Duke like yelling at it. I always love the cook we did. And then Selena, what are you doing? We haven't heard from you.
I would say that Selena, I would like to sort of be at the point that Lou is coming out of the tent. And so then she'll go over to Lou, give her a hand. Yes, that's great. Eustace went inside. Does this thing do anything about inside or help us see anything inside?
I've got a picture. Okay, I've got a picture. This is what it looks like with the core, and you can see the membranes coming apart. Is this? If you look through it, it will. You can here. Let me just give your head. Yep, here we go. I'll hold it for you on my shoulder.
Sure, you're
I love
holding an
Lou.
8-foot-long telescope on your shoulder. No problem. Selena,
But it's only to balance it so that Selena can look through the other side of it.
it's a little disorienting as it's moving. It's no longer being
Can you see it
stabilized by
well?
the device that it was on. And so now
Stop.
Okay.
but yeah, you can confirm the same thing that Lou just
These
described. Like,
scientists are able to see into the Umbra now. We definitely, I can hear Jacques. I think I actually have to support him in murdering everything.
Oh,
We have to
and so-
protect the spirits.
So what Selena is hoping is that she'll like try to like move this in the direction of where Eustace went in, just like hoping against hope that there might be a way to like see him in there through this thing.
Okay.
Because it's like an umbral x-ray or something, like radar or something.
There's a core in the middle of this thing. If you look at the picture on that, and she'll like move with it.
Selena, go ahead and roll. Let's do technology paired with wisdom.
What?
Can I support this?
Yeah, you can take an extra die from.
These are
I have
the
0
things that I'm
dice.
good at.
0 for technology
0.
and 2 for wisdom. So this is not.
So there you
Do you want me to do the rule?
You get a bonus from Lou. You get a
Oh
bonus
no,
from Lou.
this is
Yeah,
what
okay.
you guys are doing.
A whole 1 dice. So I'm rolling 3 dice for this.
You going 3? That's fine.
Yeah.
If you tell me what you're doing, maybe
In a
I can like
rage.
do
The
the
pack
same
is
action.
dying, but let's go look through the telescope.
You have
We're
a
trying
rage
to
die
find
too. Don't
Eustace.
forget. So you're rolling 4 dice. Don't forget.
How am I rolling 4?
But doesn't
Does he have
doesn't
a
the
rage?
rage replace the one of her skill
Oh yeah, it
dice?
replaces.
Yeah.
You're right. My bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, it replaces.
Son of a bitch. I rolled a 1, a 2, and a 3. Not on the rage dice. So that gets me nowhere.
Okay, so
I mean,
Selena,
for
tell
no
me.
willpower.
Willpower.
For a willpower?
Send a willpower to
Do it.
Come on. I gotta do better. than
Okay,
that.
good luck. I
Oh
believe in you.
my.
Well, let's find Eustace.
Damn it.
Oh no. If you switched with me and hold this and point me in the directions that Eustace went, I can.
How much did you roll? How much did you roll? First of all, okay.
I got 1. I got a
You-
3, a 4, and a 6.
As you're moving the telescope around, you do see what looks like the sort of contours of a large man. You can tell that they have kind of pointed ears in some way, so you'd imagine maybe a glabro type form or something. You do see that. You can't, I would say, get enough clarity to convince yourself it's Eustace, but you definitely see that there is a figure that you would imagine as kind of glabro form Garu inside with 1 success.
So Selena will tell Lou and Duke. There's at least one of us alive and moving around in there.
Okay.
Hopefully
if it's
is Eustace, but it could be somebody else from our sept.
the leader of the stargazers.
Well, that's not necessarily a bad thing. We want to get the Luke Guru out of there at some point anyway, no?
What do you suggest? We're just gonna go in there after we've seen 5 people disappear?
Well, they have a way of getting in here. This timer is probably how long someone can survive in there. When we got here, it was like 45 minutes. So we know an average
30 minutes now.
30 minutes. And they've got what appears to be maybe ropes or lines going in there, right? So there must be a method.
Follow one of those in. I mean, Jacques is occupied.
Well, yeah, while this conversation's happening in the background, Jacques is just literally ripping people apart. Like, it's like you're take half, it's totally fine. You're just ripping people left and right.
He did the big silverback gorilla on the backs of these two. Just
Blood like sprays on Duke's shoulders and he kind of flinches.
People are just
Look,
screaming, begging. Okay.
I'm not going to go in there, but I can try and perform the rite that could banish the spirit, but there is no guarantee that it's going to work because this thing is a massive cabbage.
Can you give us a little bit more rage beforehand as well? Because I actually would benefit from that too.
Well, then we're kind of compromised if I do that, but I
think we're compromised. Look behind me at the blood fest right now.
What? I can't hear you.
Jackson Pollock painting back there. Crazy.
I have this song of Forgotten Records up right now, which means none of the cameras are working. They might come and see the aftermath, but they're not getting any of this. And then
Selena's gonna turn around to Lou and just like rake her across the arm while she's talking.
Why did you do something? Okay, I get a rage for that. Thank you.
Okay. So while you guys are thinking, you figure it out. Let's hop inside and let's see how Eustace is doing. So Eustace, last we saw you, like I said, you had just walked up this small incline of a driveway, and then there was a carport that was impossibly dark. Like the whole neighborhood has been dark, and there's only been very light, a little bit of light coming from those floodlights that they had set up around. But the carport itself, it kind of felt like palpable almost in a way. And as you stepped inside, you almost felt like it was sort of pressing down on you, not in a way that was painful, but just in a way that was extremely noticeable. And you kept hearing like over and over again the sound of this like blacksmithing tink, just like tink over and over and over again. And then when you turned around after you got inside of this carport, you saw right there on the driveway that you had just come in, there was this old-fashioned television, and you see some kind of like documentary. And as it continues, you can hear the voice of someone like David Attenborough or some other random Discovery Channel voice, and you just see like they're doing some sort of story on like Western smithing, and that's what you see in front of you. What do you want to do, man?
Ooh. Hello? I do love watching some of this. Is anybody there? I'd like to commend your choice of viewing material.
You watch as the TV starts to go fuzzy, and then it becomes like this pure screen of static. You no longer hear the tinking, but you do hear the sounds of like static again and again and again. Then you start to see like this screen begin to come to again, like this like, kind of like squiggly little reappearance, except it seems like the channel has changed, and you just hear like the sound. You're an older guy of what sounds like Columbo. He's like, I gotta take off this coat, and he's like talking about how can't take in this coat. And then the screen becomes very clear, and there's Columbo taking off his just trench, his tan trench. And right as he does so, you see falling from the sky this, what looks like another bloody fur skin that just splatters onto the driveway itself.
Hey, well, I guess I'm gonna pick up that coat too.
Okay. When you take a step out towards the driveway, you feel your head smash, not painfully, against what feels like glass, like you just walked into like a sliding glass window. You just go, bink. You bang your head against it.
Respectfully, whoever you are, I feel like you're being a bit of a dick. I'm gonna turn around and go the other way now.
Okay. So you turn around back to Columbo now. You just hear him complaining about how he can't think in his coat. And then you see this light suddenly open, and you hear the sounds of like a creaking door, like, and there's just this bright, like white yellow light on the far side of what you presume is this carport. Can't see anything else other than the light itself. You can't even see into it. Like you're kind of squinting your eyes a little bit, seeing if you can get some depth, and there's just nothing in there that you can see.
Hey, what else am I gonna do? I'm gonna walk through it. Great. Okay. Yeah, let's do this.
Okay. You
Make
step
sure I've got
inside.
the pellet and the
sure.
body with me, and
You take a step inside. You realize there's a small step, like an elevated step, and then you find yourself a couple steps later as you go through this this bright, yellow white light that can't really see anything, and then eventually you find yourself in the middle of a kitchen. But it's a dated kitchen. Like it's got this kind of yellow brown linoleum. It looks like there's probably asbestos. It's got this like really like dark wood grain dated looking cabinetry, this kind of greenish formica as countertops and such, and you can tell like it is very clearly is like 60s maybe maybe 70s. It's like the really gaudy looking colors, and it's not that it's in bad shape. It doesn't look like it's worn and old, but it definitely stylistically looks really, really strange. And you kind of just hear periodically just this laugh track, like like this crowd, like something you would hear out of a sitcom. What would you like to do?
All right. Okay. All right. So we've gone from the old west, went to Columbo. Now we got ourselves a little 60s sitcom going on here. You seem to like your TV, and that's great. Okay. So this is the kitchen, right?
Yes.
Keep looking for points of egress. Gonna open a refrigerator door, open an oven door.
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of trying to go with not the oven door. Actually, I don't feel like crawling into an oven, even if that is what seems to be the doorway.
You open the refrigerator door, and you can see on the door itself there's all manner of condiments, but then there has been space made in the actual refrigerator part, and you can see someone is sort of slowly defrosting a big chunk of meat.
Okay. All right. Okay. Right.
And then you hear laugh track in the background. I should have gotten one. Then I think of that.
Get it. I'm glad I'm providing you some entertainment. That's wonderful. Okay. Okay. How do I switch this up? You know what? I don't feel like following your script. I feel like doing my own thing. I feel like I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do some perform. I'm going to do myself a little song. There's that one song from Red Dead like the only compass I need is the one that takes me home to you. I'm gonna start singing that.
Okay.
Basically, some sort of my own performance thing that's about a compass that leads you in a direction, and Eustace will just start trying to sing that, just trying to switch the vibe. Because
Mhm.
spirit world mumbo jumbo logic doesn't always apply. It's more the feel
Okay.
or the vibe of it.
Go ahead and roll your performance test. And give me a charisma with that, actually. Just pure, raw charisma. So,
Okay.
performance Riz.
Performance, Riz.
Nice.
And let me know how you do. I don't have the tab up.
I got 2.
Okay. You see the ground, the tile, that linoleum tile floor begin to rupture. Like you see these like little kind of pops as the upper level of the linoleum itself kind of begins to blister and then pop one after the other. And you see it kind of making this small little curving track in the ground that leads you weaving out of the elevator or out of the kitchen. I don't know why I said elevator.
All right. Well, I imagine you get yourself a nice little remodeling show going on over there. I'm going to move on to something else right now. Thank you for your attention. Remember to click like and subscribe.
See you one day. So you follow the blistering linoleum floor.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You find yourself a few steps later on a kind of fuzzy yellowing carpet. And when you look up, you are in the living room of what you think. Well, that looks sort of like the set of, that sort of looks like I want to say is it All in the Family? Archie Bunker, All in the Family?
Yep,
Am I
All in the
getting that right?
Family.
Yeah, All in the
Yep.
Family.
Oh,
It's
boy.
sort of like All in the Family. And you can see like there is like this like recliner seat where Archie Bunker would normally kind of sit, etc. Except you see not Archie, but you see a bloody heaping body, not unlike the one you've been carrying around.
Does it got kind of that Gyru scent to it?
You would think so. I mean, you don't see any fur on it. You don't really see anything from it, that suggests immediate recognition. You could make step a little closer and do a quick examination of it if you like.
Yeah, because I don't like it, but if it is one of ours, I'm not leaving it in here.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Okay. As you get closer, one thing you do notice is, despite the fact that it is kind of this skinned body, you can still see like these what looks like loose like the underbelly of like a tattoo, like the remnants of one, like as the skin kind of got peeled away, and you see what looks like a series of sort of shark fins right underneath like the neck, going from collar, like kind of the collarbone to collarbone, which is Bodhi Darkpaw.
Okay. Well, I don't know exactly how much sense it makes, but I'm going to take that shark tooth necklace. And
Oh, it's
I'm
not a
gonna put
necklace.
it
It's
on.
like a tattoo. Oh yeah. You have the shark tooth necklace.
Yeah,
Okay,
I have his thing. So
Okay.
again, it's one of those things where I don't always know exactly like logically how much it makes sense, but like we're in the spirit world, so
Sure.
I'm gonna take his shark tooth necklace, put it on him, give him some essence of himself to kind of bring that reconnection of his real world self versus
Mhm.
whatever the hell this place is doing to him, and just
As
try and get
you-
maybe a little bit of reconnect.
Lean down and gently, as best you can, over this skinless, sort of furless body, and gently put the shark tooth necklace on. You see his eyes suddenly pop open, and we'll cut from there. As you're gonna need to roll a composure plus resolve for that, but we'll resolve that when we get back. The rest of you, we'll go back outside for a little bit. So, what are we doing outside? Outside of this this hell neighborhood, basically. What are we doing?
So we take the I almost said thermometer. We take the
It's my telescope.
And we go in and we keep following where it tells us and we go in, right?
Do we not want to wait? Jacques, are you done with all the bodies?
You see Jacques is throwing computers through walls, tearing
not the
people to
computers.
pieces,
You
ripping
can't
tents
tell the
down.
difference between technology and the humans.
No.
He's just
The Weaver, the Weaver and the Worm have to be taken
No,
into account.
They
so
are
he's-
different.
He's destroying everything. He can
They're
get
not
his
the
his
same.
claws on.
Oh,
He's covered in
Are you-
crushed circuit boards, bloods, and tears.
Are you done though?
I don't know. Am I done? Is there anybody left?
Not in the immediate area. You would know that
Yeah.
there's probably people elsewhere that may be responding, but
Mhm.
in this, like, you've killed everybody in sight for sure.
So Jacques is just standing over a pile of bodies and viscera and broken computers. He's like, "Are we going?"
yes. Okay. So
Yes.
Jacques, you see this telescope. Do not break the telescope. It can
We
see
need this.
into the Umbra, so maybe it can see out of the Umbra once we're in there as well.
He
We can see Garou.
he just looks at you and cocks his head like a dog. He just
Promise.
turns and runs towards the.
Okay. Please don't destroy anything. All right, let's go. Duke, are you coming? Yes, no.
no. I'm gonna go try and
Toujours
see
jaune.
if
Okay, let's go.
I can bring you guys out.
I'm imagining that like Selena and Lou are like running on the same, like we have like the telescope like under one arm and she's got it under one arm. and
It's
we're just, like,
just
running
much
after each
easier
other.
with two people.
Little Keystone Cops action.
Yeah.
Okay. So the rest, so Selena, Jacques, Lou, you run inside. Like you're okay. Jacques, are you staying in Krenos or are you downgrading?
No, I'll drop down into. He hates to do it, but I'm going to drop down into Glabro in case he needs to communicate more effectively in there.
All right. Okay. So the three of you come running in, and you're carrying that gigantic, incredibly unwieldy telescope with you. Is that correct?
Lou believes that this can help us get in and get out. So
Okay.
This is
might
mine
get
now. We are
damaged in the
keeping
fight,
this.
But
Okay. So you come running in. For a little while, you notice that the ground there are tethers on the ground. You can see the same things that they were connected to various devices that are now in various states of, being destroyed because of Jacques' Krenos rampage. But you can see that there are these. They're kind of going straight down the middle, like this big central boulevard within the neighborhood. They kind of move off in the direction. You do see these sort of satellite avenues going kind of left and right here and there. There are no lights on with any of these houses. There's no street lights. There's no house. No lights in the houses themselves. All you can kind of vaguely see is whatever kind of light is coming from those floodlights. And the ones that are kind of really far away, like on the opposite side of the neighborhood, they look strange. It almost looks like you're kind of looking at them through frosted glass, like everything's sort of diffused in some way. But there is that kind of vague dullness to it that gives just a shape to the neighborhood and some of the buildings and such. So this is what you see as you come in. Anybody who wants, you can make like either a survival or an awareness.
Actually,
That one's
could
fine.
I drop the blur of the Milky Eye and pull up Penumbra, since I am currently in Glabro form?
Okay. So Penumbra Sense is specifically going to try to sense spirits. So you can. What I'll tell you is that you are literally inside of one.
Okay, so bad idea.
No. I'm just saying it's like you're going to. It's going to be not unlike like it's just going to be brightness everywhere.
Okay.
But that's essentially what you're gonna see.
3 successes on my awareness wits check.
Okay.
2 successes for Selena.
3 successes for both of you. Okay, I'll give you 2 different bits of information then.
2.
2?
2 for Selena.
Okay, I can still give you 2. Jacques, you notice on the ground, and I'll say Lou, since you're adding to this with the 3 successes as well, the 2 of you notice on the ground, Eustace, you had made like little markings on the ground, right? Do you remember what those were, Eustace?
Yeah, basically, one of the people who were coming to try and rescue had the knife. He was
Mhm.
like an ex-soldier or something, and I had
Mhm.
been doing cuts with the knife to try and create similar to like the chalk in the
Yeah.
labyrinth sort of thing.
And so I'll say Lou and Jacques, the two of you, as you're looking around, it's hard to see. It's so very dark, but you can see those sort of scrapings and carvings. You obviously don't know Eustace did it necessarily, but you can see them on the ground, and they seem to be venturing off down this side street towards what looks to be a fairly dark-looking cul-de-sac. And then Selena, as you're looking around, and you can see, like I said, that the light behind it looks like it's behind frosted glass. It's diffused in a certain way. But you see maybe 3 blocks over on top of a rooftop. You can see what looks like the silhouette of a wolf on top of a roof.
And Selena's just gonna just point and just make sure that Lou and Jacques have both seen and start moving in the direction of that roof.
Okay, these lines on the ground, if we pull them up, can we use them as rope that can pull them back and keep them with us a little bit, or the cabling, or is there too far down?
So you would know that they seem to be connecting the machinery to
The broken
whoever
machinery
they sent inside. Now, obviously, you guys are werewolves. You can rip these apart without issue. So if you want to like tear them up and use them for something, you absolutely can. Severing the connection of whoever is deep inside this neighborhood.
I just want them for us.
Yeah, I think that's
I would
actually
like them to be
exactly
able to
what
follow
Jacques
us
would do
back.
anyway.
Just rip things apart.
He doesn't want them coming back.
Sure.
Yeah, if you want to tear them apart, Jacques, I'm happy for that.
Okay. So yeah, if you want to tear up a couple strands of it, that's fine. Or if you want to kind of rip them apart and redirect kind of which way that you're welcome to do that.
I would like the breadcrumbs for us, not for them.
Okay. All right. So with all that, where do the 3 of you head?
Selena's moving toward the house that has the Garou werewolf on the roof, and she's just waiting for them to finish whatever the hell they're doing, and I think that's where she's going.
Do you wait for them, or do you actually just go on your own?
I am impatiently moving and then looking back, and then taking a step and waiting. Are you freaking done yet?
Okay. It's good to have backup plans. We're going.
I will say, hang on. Okay. So when you're moving, you're looking back, you're moving, you're looking back. And on the 3rd time you do it, you move, you look back, and you no longer see Jacques and Lou.
Damn it.
You instead see just what looks like a row of houses, like that is actually perpendicular to the road that you were just on. So I asked.
Son of a bitch.
I appreciate that you described it the way you did, because that let me do that.
Sure.
And I'll say Lou and Jacques, once you two are done sort of separating the cables and getting them ready and looking down at the scrapings in the ground, you look up and you realize Selena is no longer in sight.
Oh, where did she went? Is that way?
She's a soldier of the Green Mother. She'll be fine.
Okay, well, look, I don't think I would ever say this ever in my lifetime, but we might need to stick together closely.
Aww.
You're right.
This place is fucked up, so we have different, and it's not going to benefit us to split apart, even if we are warriors of Gaia.
Can your telescope find either Eustace or Selena?
Yes. If you can hold this for a second, I will look through it and see if we can see either of them. Thank you so much.
Lou, as you look through the telescope, you see light, something very bright, and as you kind of shift and
it
move,
works like
Jacques
my
holding
number
onto
sense.
it. And as you focus it, you realize you were looking at what looks like a television just sitting right there in the middle of the street. And as you focus on you realize it is the intro for The Odd Couple. And you can suddenly start hearing echoing in
Is there
the
some
darkness around
old-timey
you,
TV
the
shows
theme
that I've never
of The
seen
Odd
on
Couple.
set?
It says The Odd Couple. You can see it. It's in yellow writing.
I've
It's
done
right
none of these
there.
TV shows so far.
Jacques looks at you. He's like, "You're obviously Felix Unger." So
I don't know what that means. Okay. Okay. So there's a television over there. There's markings here. I don't see them, but it's like a penumbra sense through the telescope. So I think let's
It
follow
is.
the markings. That seems to be our hint.
is the television the spirit looking back at us?
Would I have an inkling towards that or an understanding of that? Occult?
Roll occult wisdom. You can roll an occult
Occult
plus wisdom
wisdom.
test to try to decide, sort of basically decipher some of the things you're seeing. Absolutely.
Occult wisdom or occult wits? Hold on.
Occult wisdom. Specifically wisdom I want on this one.
Okay. Okay.
Yikes.
I have 3 in wisdom, so I will just use one of those ones.
Can I try to help out with that?
You can do your own if you want, because I feel like Lou is... Lou, I'm sorry to do this to you,
One success.
but
Don't pick my telescope.
as you are looking
Whoa.
through and you're just watching this sort of odd couple intro, and you're trying to understand what it's saying. As you pull back from it, you unfortunately fumble and the telescope drops
Oh no!
and crashes on the ground, and it shatters into I don't know, a million pieces. I don't know how, but there's a
I
million
cry.
pieces at least.
Okay, so this telescope essentially works like my penumbra sense. I'm going to have to turn penumbra sense on. It's going to be very hard for me to see and very bright. Okay, this is going to suck for me.
It's just gonna be bright. Like you're with inside a spirit, which isn't to say
A single
like, there couldn't
tear
be other
falls
things
down
inside.
my cheek to
Mhm.
mourn the loss of my telescope.
And then Jacques
My
with one
telescope.
success. I would say one success probably doesn't know anything for certain, but there's you would say it's probably not random. Like what you're seeing, anything that's happening, it's probably not random. Like spirits are difficult to understand their motivations and how they're communicating, especially ones of like this size and age and complexity. So whatever it's doing, however it's kind of interpreting things, whether it's trying to communicate, it's not a bad guess, but it really at this point would probably just be a guess. Okay.
So, in frustration, he crushes the telescope under his foot.
It is now
Oh.
in 2 million
Oh.
pieces.
Oh, okay. Well, let's follow the markings. The TV, yes.
Okay.
We go this way.
So you're gonna follow the scrapings in the ground, the carvings that okay. All right. So the two of you will go that. Selena, you're heading off towards their werewolf in the distance. Let's touch back then with Eustace before we hit back to Duke. So Eustace, last we saw you, you had just apparently woken up Bodhi by putting the shark tooth necklace over top of his neck, basically where his collarbone is, and his eyes.
So composure resolve, you said?
Composure resolve. It's pretty gross, which is, again, you're a werewolf, so it's not that big a deal, but it's more of he's a friend, so to speak, and you're seeing him in significant pain.
I may, or doesn't matter. I got 2.
It's a brutal outcome. So what I'll say
that won't
is,
matter.
yeah, as
Oh,
you're
man.
not going to hurt him or anything, but what I'll say is as you stumble backwards from it, like he just sort of shocked you. Like he just suddenly popped up a little bit, and his face just varies blood and gore, just started to squirt from different places between the tissue. You just stumble backwards and you crash into a television, and it goes shattering to the ground. The pelt you're carrying kind of gets caught up a little bit in the shards of glass and torn a little bit, and you just kind of you just sort of roll around a bit. And I'll say, go ahead and take 2 points of superficial willpower from this instance here.
Okay.
But
All right.
you do see sitting up is what you think is Bodhi. You can't see his face, obviously, and he's just in this constant state of trying to like suck in enough air.
Okay. Well, if I'm seeing that, and Rosie, she's the one that had the Annie Lennox record, right?
That is correct. Actually, no, that was Tyler. I think it was Tyler. Tyler Moonsong.
I'm mixed up.
That's okay. I think it was Tyler Moonsong had the Annie Lennox. She was the one that was the Annie Lennox thing, and then
I made sure to grab something for each of them.
Yeah, you grab something for each of them. I don't have that written.
Rosie
in
was
front
the
of me.
hunter. I remember that.
Yeah, Rosie was a hunter. That's right. Thank you.
Yeah. Basically, I apologize. I had lots of fun technical difficulties before I could get things loaded, so I don't have my little pad with my notes. I can't get it to launch.
Yeah, I think I grabbed the wrong one. I have my frag notes right here, so that's the wrong game.
So basically, whatever her memento was that I made sure to grab before I came in here, just to experiment, I want to put that in her hands. Seeing that the shark tooth necklace made him pop up, see if that maybe does the same for her.
I think it was like a hunting knife.
Okay. So she's the one that had the knife. Okay.
Yeah. So I think if you kind of put it in her hands and you sort of wrap her hands about it, and she was kind of moving listlessly within the underneath the platter, and as you do, you just hear her suddenly begin sort of breathing in this like intense, painful moment, and her wrist tightens. I'll say because it just happened, no need to roll composure to resolve again. I think you knew it was coming, and so now the two of them are just like in this constant state of trying to breathe, like they're almost asthmatic in a way, but they are conscious. Their eyes are wide open, and they're near you.
Okay. Well, at least that means they can stumble. So I'm going to have one lean on this shoulder and one lean on this shoulder.
Okay.
And I'm going to look for a doorway.
Yeah, it looks like a house. Just a door goes outside right there, window, couple, like there's a hallway that goes to, I'm sure it's fine.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just gonna walk out of here. And you're gonna be fine.
Okay.
I'll just keep humming the song from earlier.
Okay. Are you like the Annie Lennox song? Or no, the Red Dead Redemption
Compass.
song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Do you want to leave the house? Do you want to go out the front door?
I think so. I think momentum is good. I feel like staying still is just begging to be eaten.
Okay. You step outside, and you can see,
if possible, maybe take a moment to grab. I know the pelt fell into the glass.
Sure,
I'll try and drape that
grab
back, drape it back over her before we leave.
Yeah, you can grab it. It's just kind of torn here and there, and kind of covered in shards of glass and various like splits of wood. And as you step outside, you are back in the neighborhood. You can definitely tell that. I would say when you step outside the door, though, it does feel a little awkward. Like you're not in a driveway, or you're not in a front yard. You just sort of feel like you're right dead set in the middle of a street. And when you turn around, you can see right there in the middle of the street, there is a door that's just dead center, doors wide open. You look through it and you can see the other side of the street, and lean around it and you can see through it. Like it's just a door, just upright in the middle, open. And you are in the middle of the dark neighborhood, like a twisting boulevard somewhere.
Okay. All right, so I got 2 out of 3. Maybe it is time to change pace, change tactics, maybe get a little some sweet dreams going. Something to help kind of like change my mentality from I'm glad I wore my brown pants today. And I'm just gonna
okay. You start humming that, and you hear the sounds at a certain point of, well, it sounds like barking that seems to harmonize with you, like yipping in some way. And as they're not singing, it's not communicating, it's just like this yipping, high pitched bark. It doesn't sound like a wolf as much as it sounds like a coyote or something like that, or but it kind of has that higher register, and you just hear it, and it's coming, and like it sounds like there's like 100 of them nearby. It's almost overwhelming to the point where you're just sort of disoriented for a moment.
Oh, okay, great. Let's just, one step after the other towards the weird, but
Mhm.
always moving.
And I'll say, as you follow, you're kind of going down like this grassy path between two of these homes. And as you emerge into the backyard, you can see that there is a pool, or at least the empty, bed for the pool. And when you look over it, you can see that there are probably about 40 or 50 coyotes that seem to be in the middle of this kind of massive, like fleshy redness, and they're all kind of yipping and biting and like tearing away at various pieces of tissue. And we'll come back to you in a second. And we're going to check in with Duke. Duke, you're outside. Nothing's weird.
Yeah, it's totally normal.
Everything looks normal, but you're now the only one out here. There are
I know
bodies galore everywhere. There's been a lot of ruckus. There's been gunshots. There's been attempts at communication that were broken down because of loose gremlins. So I would say Duke is smart enough to realize that there are other dangerous folk around with guns, and although they're not silver bullet, they are still potentially dangerous to you. So what would you want to do?
His first thought would be to see if there is still like a tent that is like intact.
Sure.
In this area.
Yeah.
Okay. So Duke would like to go into one of the tents, and that's where he wants to start performing the ritual, like somewhere secluded and safe where maybe they won't look. But
okay.
Yeah, so I think what he does is he starts to undress, and as he does, you see, I guess we've never really seen Duke naked maybe, but he's just completely scarred. And there's so many scars, either from himself, from other werewolves, you have no idea. But and then as that happens, his claws start to kind of grow, and he starts to scratch and claw himself, and with the blood he starts to draw the symbols for the rite.
Okay.
But he's going like way too far. Like he's hurting himself. Like he's going like it's not something that Duke's ever done before, but he's desperate.
So let's roll a test, but I'll say this: for every point of superficial damage you take, you can get an extra die on the roll.
Oh, okay.
What do you think?
Ooh.
Sure.
Go big or go home.
Yeah. I mean, Duke doesn't get hurt, so it's okay. Yeah. Yeah, and I think it's just like he's trying to think outside the box of like what he could do to amplify it, because he knows what he's against is, way beyond him. And he like it's like to the brink too, where he's like it's like on the borderline of him sacrificing for the pack.
Just drop
like he can't control it eventually, it's like he's just doing it, and it's just it's becoming like,
so this is rite of abjuration, so you're trying to effectively like expel. So commonly this is used for like possessions or infestations of some kind, and so you're trying to essentially expel the spirit from this neighborhood in some fashion. Okay,
so I need to roll plus something that has +2, and then I get +5 dice. Ooh, I need to reroll 3 of them.
Okay, so 5 so far.
I need 6.
I'm gonna willpower roll this. Yeah,
I'll just do all the green ones. Ooh.
Oh my.
Nice.
That's
8
successes. Okay.
Wow.
How much physical or how much superficial damage did you take from it?
I think Duke doesn't know. Like I, as a character, Evan did 5, but I think Duke himself like goes way too far.
Okay. So what we see then is like this, like you're drawing these images in the ground, and you're kind of doing it in your own blood. Essentially, you're drawing these runes and these glyphs, and you're drawing it around the tent as best you can. You're using, maybe you have bits and pieces of your friends, your pack mates, this thing or that thing, these various objects that might kind of, much like Eustace was doing with the missing pack, kind of tether to them as well. And like you're constantly needing more, because for some reason the ground just keeps seeping and taking the blood. And so over and over and over again, to the point where the ground just becomes this soggy mess, not unlike just a few steps away where Jacques just obliterated the technical crew. And all this is going to say, this, we're just going to say this takes a while. And like we can see behind you, we had the clock that was been ticking down this whole time, right? And we can see like over and over, like this clock is ticking down. This is a good like 25, 30 minutes, this whole process of you just like ripping and kind of going through. And I'll say eventually, you do see the ground no longer begin to take the blood anymore, and it's just there. And then as you reach the end of it, you watch as like your own blood begins to like kind of rupture and boil in some ways. You can see it kind of roll around like in these rivulets in the ground, and you can see somewhat similar to when you were inside the Umbra when you first appeared, and this giant like bulbous spirit had those tendrils whipping free here and there. You see them kind of erupting up out of the blood in the ground, like sort of earthworms coming up. And that's when you hear like the sounds of just something moving, and you just hear like this like slow but extremely loud like moving of earth. And when you peek outside, you notice that the tethers have kind of dragged what looks like whatever it was connected to, and you can see that there's like the two closest homes to where everybody was set up are essentially like bifurcated on like this 30-degree angle and have kind of like slid off in a particular way. And as you watch, you're just seeing row after row of these houses just continue to like kind of fracture and slide. But as they do, electricity pops up here and there. Like you notice like a half broken street light suddenly kind of flickers back to life, and like a house kind of flickers back to life, and slowly one after the other, you just watch as this like neighborhood kind of comes back to life, but at the same time is heavily damaged in the process as well. You get the sense like it, like the spirit is like leaving this place. It is actually detaching or abandoning it in some way. You also hear shouts of "What the fuck is happening? I don't know. Why are comms down?" Like all these people screaming back and forth, and the sounds of footsteps, like people running left and right, and you know there's people around. I'll say that no roll necessary for this. Your awareness is probably high enough that you can see there are groups of people like the ones that Jacques initially attacked and you froze that one time, carrying weaponry, and they're looking around. They're like, what the fuck? They're not looking at you necessarily, but they're looking at the torn up, destroyed area where all the bodies of the technicians are, looking into these destroyed homes, the tether that's literally dragging the leftover equipment on the ground as the spirit seems to shift and move away. You are currently unseen though, but how does Duke want to handle this?
I think he is still like so entranced with everything that he's like just huffing and puffing in the blood. Like he's not even like, he hears it, but he's not reacting to it. Like, okay. And if they were to come, he probably would just submit. Like he just seems so like he gave everything he had to try and make it work.
All right, let me see. Okay, they don't immediately notice you. They seem to be a little bit more sort of paying attention to the bodies on the ground, and they're trying. Some of them are getting close to the edge of the neighborhood. They're like, no, don't move, not there, because there's markings. If you recall, they put markings in the ground to kind of denote like where the perimeter is. And we'll come back. We'll come back to Duke to see how long it takes them to find you. Let's go back inside we'll go to Selena. Selena, you were going after this silhouette of a wolf on the rooftop a few blocks away. You do turn around and notice you're all by yourself now. What would you like to do?
Stupid freaking. I mean, I want the telescope is helpful, but like really, so by herself, she's just gonna like go quickly towards that wolf.
Okay.
So she's running.
I'm going to need from you then a roll, though. I need you to roll. You can either roll occult or wisdom. One of the two is essentially just like you're trying to traverse the Umbra is essentially what you're doing. So so you can do like
Cult.
you can do like a occult wits. You can do like wisdom survival, whatever kind of combo, as long as it at least has at least one of wisdom or occult.
Yeah, occult wits. That is 3 successes.
Okay. It takes a couple blocks before you kind of reach, and it gets very strange because it's like you pass one block and you look up and it still seems to be 3 blocks away. You pass another block, still seems to be 3 blocks away. Do it again though, next time suddenly you're right at the base of the house and you're looking up. Like the distances just don't make sense. This looks like you haven't progressed, and then immediately you're at the base of the house. And you can see on one of the slopes, the gables of the house itself, you can see there is a very large wolf that's just sitting there and just staring kind of upward at that point.
All right, I am going to see if I do a better job this time. I'm going to try to hair's leap on the roof.
Okay, give it a roll.
I'm just curious, how much rage do you have right now?
1.
Okay.
That's all I could get.
Oh.
Oh god. You can still do the thing though. Like you can still do the thing. You just kind of run out of rage and then you drop out of your. So, but you can still your action will still go through. So make the test for your hair's leap.
Okay. So it's strength plus glory. So I'm just gonna pick brawl plus strength because it's the same number of dice.
When I described the fact that there is a werewolf on a roof, did you immediately get the idea to jump on the roof, and that's why you were so excited to run off by yourself?
No, but once I got here, I was like, how am I getting up there?
Okay.
Hair's leap.
Oh god.
1 success.
Okay. It is not the most elegant leap. At a certain point, like you hop up, and it's one of those kind of like sort of orange tiled roofs, and they kind of slide out from under you, and it's like almost like this comical Disney moment when you start moving just a little too much, and right as it feels like it looks like you're about to fall, you feel kind of a hand, like a clawed, like rough hand on your wrist, and you look up and you see an older looking man. Probably 70s, 80s, something like that. He is in glabro form, as you can see the tufts of fur here and there. You can see his ears have resemble some sort of pointed canine-like ear. And when he pulls you up, he kind of relatively friendly-looking face, but when you notice. And you look at him, you notice that his face is like in this constant state of like disintegration and repair. And so you see the skin just like rip apart and then restitch and like rip apart and stitch back together. Same with his hand, his arm, his forehead. Everything's like in this constant state, this like extremely painful disintegration. And then and you can tell that the regeneration isn't quite as fast. But you would imagine it's extremely painful. But he looks at you and he's got this sort of very sympathetic look on his face as he looks down at you, and he just says, I am Oren Moonshadow. You
Yes.
should not have
was
come.
Hoping to find you. Actually.
You have found me. And I lament that.
Is what is happening to you happening to everyone in here?
Some are further along. Some, the impatient, the youth. It will happen faster. Others, we can hold it off. longer.
Have you seen a new arrival? We just a member of our pack. We just followed him in.
There were others, but not recent. It has been days. They were reckless, judgmental people. They did not listen. They dragged me inside. They did not listen. They called me liar and betrayer and believed I was trying to hurt them. And despite my protests, they were too strong for me. But we are all inside now, and there is no leaving, as Gaia wills it.
We met with Lucretia, and we were unsure.
Did she not warn you?
No, she. To be fair, she did.
Good. So you chose not to listen again.
We are stubborn. We believe that all effort must be expended.
A mule is stubborn. You are something different.
Too many members of our sept had been lost to not do everything that we thought we could.
Yeah. Sometimes you have to let go.
So what are you? We could find a way out.
Yeah. It is not how it works. You cannot find a way out. You must be given one. You must appease. This is a spirit of consumption. Consumes fear and anger and greed and gluttony, minds and memories. It is its machinations of this spirit is beyond our ability to understand. What pleases it, that is not something I know. My pack and I, we've shepherded this creature. We've cared for it. We've tended to it. And I will not be the first to have fallen victim to it as well. And if we, its shepherds, do not merit some form of mercy from it, I do not believe it is likely that you all will.
Well, I do know that we have a very old, very, very old wolf among us who has an idea for what may be able to separate this spirit from this area. And perhaps he may succeed.
That is dangerous. It separates. Where would it go? We have been, as I said, capable of leading it like a carrot on a stick, taking it to one place or the other, ensuring it does not cause too much destruction. Only places
what do you use
where it is deserved. We have a ritual, a spell of sorts. It is song. It enjoys song. We sing to it, and it follows us.
Interesting. What know you of the researchers in the area? They seem to have a countdown clock and tethers, and they seem to have figured something out.
Many have come to this place, this spirit, in my lifetime and beyond. Scientists, mages, others who believe themselves in tune with spirits. And many have tried to communicate, coerce, enslave, They were unsuccessful. I hold no confidence that these new will be able to put the yoke on this creature.
To ask the obvious, have you tried from inside to sing the song and see if that will urge its movement?
I have sung. I am on the rooftop and I howl to the sky. It is a beautiful sight. And when you look up in the direction where he's looking, Selena, it's just black. Like you don't see anything, but he seems like he's like you can see in his eyes, like he is just enamored by something beautiful. I have sung. Yeah. I do not think it can hear me. Not in the way that it normally does.
Perhaps multiple voices travel farther?
You wish to sing?
I can try, and she has clearly lost the wolf, so she...
Okay. All right. Roll a performance test. You can take a bonus die from Aura Moon Shadow. Give me your hand.
Since I've got nada in performance, what am I pairing performance with?
You can do. I like charisma in this particular case because it really is about just sort of like your natural affinity. Does Selena not have that either?
I've got two.
No
I've got two.
No
So
risk.
I'll be rolling
Natural
3 dice.
riz.
Natural riz.
I'll roll it in here.
Forever. Okay. We'll power that up.
One success.
One success. That's a 10. Do you want to re-roll those other two and maybe you get a crit?
Right, yeah.
Could get a crit. You're already halfway there.
Either that or you're
Fire's
gonna
not
die. I mean, come on.
Yeah, it's one of the two.
I mean, well, when you put it that way.
There
No
you
crit,
go.
but 3 successes.
No crit, there's 2 successes. Okay. Selena, you listen for a bit as he kind of goes through this. It's more like it's like a chant and a howl. Like you can see it's both his human voice, but also like you see as he's doing so, the wolf howl kind of comes out, and it's just kind of back and forth between it, where sometimes it sounds human, sometimes it sounds wolf, and you do your best to follow along, harmonize. He kind of looks at you and kind of nods in encouragement. And at a certain point, the two of you become very in sync with it, to the point where like you sound in perfect harmony. And as you're doing so, you feel kind of the earth rumble a little bit. And then you notice that the sky has brightened for you. And when you look up, you no longer see this this impossible black opaque sky, but instead you see this beautiful, colorful, like unlimited space that just seems like you're looking at the galaxy, at the universe, all the way back to its inception. You just see galaxies and stars. You see comets moving at speeds that seem impossible, right? And you look up and you can finally see what he actually sees. And I'll say at this point, you can actually restore a willpower as you feel this calmness suddenly overtake you. While that's happening, let's kick over to Jacques and Lou. You had followed these tracks, and I'll say you get to the cul-de-sac where we saw Eustace. You see in front of you, there is a lengthy dining table sitting in the middle of this concrete cul-de-sac. You can see that there are somewhere in the neighborhood of maybe 15 to 20 seats. There is a large silver platter in the middle, and various other fixtures and furnishings on top of it. And you hear like the bell, like this dinner bell, just ringing over and over. What do you two do?
Is there anybody at the table?
We'll say that you are at the entrance to the cul-de-sac, and you can see maybe 50 feet away. From this distance, you don't see anybody.
Lou does, I did activate number sense, and I got 3 successes on it, so it is probably quite bright for me right now.
It is quite bright, but I will also say that you noticed something else, Lou, as you're looking at the table. Both of you are looking. Jacques, you mentioned, like, you probably said it, like, you don't see anybody. But then Lou, you see what looks like these bright contours of light begin walking towards the table. You can see they're kind of glowing in some way. They're the spirits, smaller spirits. And like, you see them first, and then eventually, Jacques, you see them as well. But when you see them, Jacques, they look just like people, and they begin taking seats around this table. Lou, you saw them at a distance coming from the darkness, and as they sit down, you can still see like the physical body of a human, but it's illuminated almost from the inside, like you're looking at like an incandescent light bulb in the shape of a human. And this is what the two of you see as they sort of sit down to this dinner.
There's a lot of spirits in here.
Let's see what we can find out from them. Jacques will approach the table.
Okay.
I
You
will
see
also approach.
12.5 people, men and women. You can see women are mostly dressed in some kind of like kind of flowery sundress, something, kind of loose, light colored. You see the men tend to be dressed in they have like trousers, and they've got long sleeve, and a lot of them have suspenders, and they have hats that they take off when they sit down. They definitely look like working folk. I would say both of you can immediately tell they look out of time. Like they might be like a Mennonite group, or more likely they look to be like something from like a frontier town, or maybe from a commune or something like that. But they certainly don't look like normal everyday modern dress. As
Jacques is walking up, he kind of quietly asks Lou, "Can you tell if they are of the wild, of the worm, or of the weaver?"
They are orange. Let me. Can I investigate the spirits? They're
Sure.
very orange.
Roll an occult test. Give me occult intelligence or wits, whatever you prefer.
Okay, let me do. We'll grab the wits for
I think
this
2
one.
successes is all you probably need for this.
Well,
You
that's
got it.
good.
That's good. That's good. They look nothing like any of the spirits that you are most familiar with, the Weaver. And they certainly don't look to have the kind of corruption that's commonly associated with the worm. So you would probably conclude that these look like spirits of the wild.
They don't have the creepy black gunk that comes in, so there's a pure orange. So no, none of the bad ones, but they're not my spirits either. They're some third party.
So when Jacques gets close, he'll dip his head in his shoulders and let out a small growl, and he'll say, "Greetings to the children of the Green Mother. I ask your forgiveness for the interruption."
Roll an etiquette test.
This is going to go well.
I'll tell you what, take a bonus die because you role played it in a way that was very respectful. So take a bonus for
I
it.
didn't imagine Jacques
Etiquette.
was one for etiquette.
Etiquette, composure, charisma, manipulation.
Composure sounds good. Or charisma. I'll take either of those two. It's fine.
We'll go with composure.
Okay.
And one bonus die.
Hello, no spirit friends. Nice to meet you.
You look up. Hey, what's up?
That's very good. What's
So anachronistic.
Well, Jacques is like introducing himself. Lou's just going to look around a little bit to see if the time period that they're in has changed, like the cul-de-sac.
No, the cul-de-sac, I would say it looks very much like a modern suburb, like a modern pre-planned kind of same style homes, slight variations, but they all look very similar. And it looks just like what you saw when you looked it up online.
Okay.
Jacques, when you lean in and you are very respectful, you kind of announce yourself. You hear the sounds of something dragging on the ground, and you see that a chair, not occupied, has slid out from the table, just like 2 seats over towards you. And you can see like a few of them, their heads kind of turn in the direction of the empty pulled out chair.
And so Jacques will sit and nod, "Thank you. As a warrior of the Green Mother, a protector of the wild, I would beg information from you. What tribute do the spirits here require to free the warriors of Gaia from your embrace so that we may carry out her needs in the world of man against the Weaver and the Worm?
You actually hear a woman's voice at the far end of the table begin to hum, and then a second one begin to hum, and then a man's voice with a little bit more baritone to it comes in, and they all are just kind of just humming, like each one of them, and it creates this sort of almost like a religious or like Catholic chant in a way, as you kind of hear all the voices kind of come together in this sort of choral a kind of conglomeration. It's beautiful. It's unsettling at times here and there, as some of the chords seem to sort of fall away like to infinity at times, but then come back. But they just keep going on and on. Lou, as you're watching them, their very innards, their incandescence grows even brighter, and it just begins to glow in the cul-de-sac itself until the whole place just becomes this sort of bright little bubble of light. And that's how they respond to you, Jacques.
Oh, Jacques, it's quite beautiful. We're in the bubble of light almost now, spiritual energy.
Jacques will try to harmonize with them. Try.
There's a reason I'm not trying.
So, Jacques, roll a performance test.
Another of his strong suits, by the way.
I like that we're seeing this other side of Jacques. Okay. He's still coated in blood.
Oh yeah, completely covered.
They don't seem to care about that at all. Yeah, roll a performance. I think charisma is going to make the most sense in this case.
Yeah, this is going to be. Hey, do we have any audience dice? I'd love
That's
to
a
have
great
one
point.
if
I don't know.
That's a
We like never use any. Yeah.
We do.
We do.
Oh,
but
you
we
guys
forgot.
do.
I think we stopped using
I don't-
it. Yeah.
I will use one because my charisma is 2 and my performance is 0.
Mm-hmm.
Me
Okay.
too.
Okay.
2 successes.
2 successes really isn't that bad, to be honest. I would say maybe Jacques noticed it. Lou, you definitely notice it. It's not perfect. Like there's sort of it's slightly off key, but there's enough voices that it definitely blends. And so unless you have like perfect pitch, you probably don't pick up on it. But at a certain point, that big silver platter begins to rattle. It's like no one's lifted it off. It's like you could see this big, almost comically large silver covering for a platter in the middle of this long dining table, and it just starts to rattle.
Jacques will look to the woman who is speaking to him. May I lift the platter?
And then the woman will look back to you, and she'll just sort of nod, and she'll smile like this bright smile. Lou, when she smiles, it's almost like a flashlight coming out of her mouth.
And he quickly says a prayer to the Green Mother, thanking her for this moment, even with these spirits, even if it leads to his death. And he will lift the lid to the platter. And
what you find inside is a furless, skinless, bleeding body of a woman. Go ahead, Lou and Jacques, make composure resolve tests.
Okay.
As you see this.
That is not good.
Oh dear.
A little shocking. All right. How do we do? Oh, you're both okay. 3 and 4, you're both okay. It's a little startling, but not to the point where that it's going to sort of bother you too much. And I'll say that with the two of you here, like you see this body, you see it's definitely a woman. Um, you know of the missing people. There is one that is very tall. There's a very tall woman in her sort of like late 30s or so, Tyler Moonsong. And you see a fairly tall woman without fur and skin having been peeled away, slightly writhing here and there, and she is right there on the platter.
And then Jacques asks, "May I take this Garou into the Riel so that she may heal and fight to protect the mother?"
And you just see another like really bright, wide smile and kind of a nod at that point.
And Jacques will lean in and cradle this woman in his arms that he assumes is this missing Garou, and bows and once again says a quick thank you to the Green Mother as he backs away from the table.
Absolutely. We will cut at that point over to Eustace, who was standing in the middle of a street with a door. You have two other bodies that you've been carrying around, and one kind of torn, glass covered, partially shredded werewolf fur. Eustace, give me an awareness test.
Okay. Awareness and wits, probably.
Wits is fine, I would say. Yeah, wits is good.
Okay. 4.
Two things. As actually, no, the last thing we saw I apologize. The last thing we saw is you were standing over top of a pool, looking down at a pool filled of coyotes and flesh. My bad. As you're standing there, it is like a kind of a horrific looking sight. But you guys are all werewolves, so I often feel like gore, unless it's like it's like unexpected, is probably, or this is with somebody that you personally recognize, is probably not that big a deal for you all.
We travel with Jacques.
I was about to say,
Yeah,
Jacques is
exactly.
part of the
On
party.
the regular.
Like, as long as it's not like one of your own that is ripped to shreds in front of you, I feel like you guys can probably keep it together. So as you're looking down at them, at these coyotes, you notice all of a sudden, for the first time, this almost like explosion of light from the other side of the neighborhood. You just see just this bright, huge light, like the Griswold house just suddenly turned on for the first time. Just there it goes, and it just stays there. You hear the coyotes below just like start to freak out when that happens, and they're continuing to yip and yap, and like as the light tries to push its way down into the depths of this pool, you can see they start huddling in like the dark corners, and they're like not letting themselves be touched by the light that's kind of shutting down. It's the first time you've seen light of any sort within the neighborhood.
All right. Am I still getting that weird like echo response from doing the song for the Sweet Dreams thing? Does it still lead me in a certain direction?
Yeah, you still hear it. I would say that you can see, like when you kind of hum, and or was it I think it was the Red Dead one, right? You're humming Red Dead.
Well, I switched over because I was trying to find. I found 2 out of the 3, so now I was switching over to the Annie Lennox song because I knew I have the record that's an Annie Lennox record.
4 successes.
So I'll find the 3rd.
We'll roll our awareness over to this as well. You do in fact hear in the direction of that giant bright light the sounds of like humming. It's not the song. It's like this background sort of melody, and it's not the melody of the song, but it's like this background sort of complementary like weaving. And as you're humming it's not perfectly timed, but it certainly, you could hear from wherever that gigantic light is coming from.
Yeah, I'm gonna start going that way, but before I do I get the feeling like these are legitimately coyote spirits? Does it feel?
You can roll an occult test.
See if so. I want to try and encourage them to follow me.
Okay. Occult, wits or int, whatever you prefer.
Was there a body that the coyotes were?
No, it's like a pool filled with just like meat.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it wasn't like a singular body.
1.
if that's what you're feeling, if that's what Eustace is feeling, I don't see any reason to deter you from that.
I mean, this thing's been feeding an area that would have a lot of coyotes. It seems reasonably in line. I'm gonna do my best to kind of, I can see that they're kind of all starting to kind of get a little scared of the light, and they're kind of just in a feeding mentality, kind of a panic mentality. And I just want to set myself up composurely, right? An example, you might say, and then use my animal kin to kind of show them walking away from this darkness towards the light to see if I can pull some of these coyote spirits with me. Because, hey, man, I got to pull the pack, but if you can bring some of these spirits too, why not? It's the right thing to do.
I think you've already defined the role. So animal ken slash composure.
Sweet. And I got a bonus because I'm a heart warden.
Made that easy.
Remind me next time I'm describing something I'm doing to use the skill as the adjective.
Oh yeah.
You should. Oh my goodness.
5.
5 successes. They immediately look up at you, and it's like you see them, they just start leaping and climbing over themselves to get out of the pool. Some of them get stuck inside and they kind of run over, and you see them come up the stairs here and there. A few of them just hop up. They do this wonderful hare's leap that just pops up out, no problem. And you see that there's now near you, they're all kind of nipping at you here and there, and like sniffing and like kind of biting, but not in like a, more of like in a playful or curious sense. And you have a swarm of coyotes around you.
Okay, that's good.
Okay.
I'm not enjoying the nipping, but I feel like it was the right thing to do, and I'm gonna go towards the light.
Okay. So you start traveling in the direction of the light. I want to cut back to Duke. Duke, you have thus far gone unobserved, but you can tell that they're starting to panic. And I'll say, as you're coming back and more to sort of awareness of your state and what's around you, you start to hear a conversation like, what the fuck happened to these things? Why is it, what the hell? Oh no. And then like, there's also a few times that like they call down into like different teams and like, respond. And like, no one's responding. Like the gremlins are still kind of kicking in here and there. And then they start giving orders like fan out. And you hear, boots kind of starting to move around. And then one voice is like, clear the tents. And so that's probably maybe what kind of gets your focus. So what do you do, Duke?
Duke in his exhaustion will kind of sigh, and then covered in blood, he's just going to play dead.
Oh my goodness, that's a wonderful idea. Okay, because you are in human form, right?
Yeah, I'm human. I'm naked, covered in blood.
Okay.
Nice.
I had a long time to think about what I was going to do.
Yeah. Sorry, you guys are all split up.
No, I'm kidding.
I
I'm just
apologize. Performance, maybe, or survival, because I feel like that might also
try
come
to work
into play
in
here.
the adjectives you want.
Oh,
to use
let me adjective. Let me persuade them that
I want to act. See, dead bodies are like pieces of history. So
I think like academics, right? Like I want to.
I've really get a study of what it looks like to be.
Yeah, exactly.
I think composure makes the most sense because you're trying to keep yourself still. So I would say composure. I think performance makes sense. A stealth is fine. I'll even take survival in some cases. So one of those three, whichever skill of those you want, paired with composure, and it'll be contested by their.
I'm probably not gonna succeed. That's okay.
Do you want a audience? We got
There's
some,
a lot of audience.
donations. We got some
No,
donations.
I like to. I'll let it roll. It's okay.
Evan takes the Longley approach.
Yeah, I mean,
right.
let's see.
The game didn't come with audience bits.
Yeah,
I'm not
it's
rolling.
Very purist. Very purist.
Right? Yeah, that's not a part of the mechanics. Composure, survival. Okay. I'll just re-roll.
Okay.
One
Two
dice.
You got
successes.
2 successes so far.
Could
Trying
maybe
to get
get
a third.
one more. All right, not horrible for 3 dice.
You needed 3. You did need 3 because 2 was not going to be enough. So they
You
come
sound
in.
like, oh, this is going to be so hard. I don't know that I'm going to succeed.
But it's
3
Duke, it's
successes on my
fine.
3.
Blood on the ground, and you hear like, we got another one, and like you just feel a boot as they kind of kick your side. Yeah, this one's dead too. Blood freaking. What the hell happened here? And like they look around inside the tent a bit, and there's like destroyed tech. Like Lou is probably crying somewhere, and then they leave, leaving you in here dead, etc. And yeah, you've somehow managed to play dead. What's your next plan? What's your next step?
I think Duke is gonna wait a little bit. I mean, he knows it succeeded, but I think he's gonna try to just like listen and see what he hears from, like if they're calling for backup. I mean, obviously the comms are messed up, but like what their plan might be that they're trying to like concoct.
Okay. Yeah, like I'm rolling over the gremlins, still not working, and so they are they are struggling with comms, etc. If you wait long enough, you'll hear someone come back, and the gist of the report, because they basically just try to do like a physical recon. They're checking the sort of the southern side of the neighborhood, and they come back and they're like they're gone. Like, I don't know why all these guys have like a surfer accent. They're gone. And whatever this, I think it moved, like all, like every house. Like it's just like, I can't find. And then they start listing like names of like teams and people and stuff, like they're gone. They're not there, and this and that. And then like all he's doing is doing this laundry list. And so then they start kind of debriefing. They start calling out who's left, and when they figure out who's left, there's literally 5. It's just like 5 people that they still actually have communication with. Everybody else seems to have disappeared. And you can hear, I'll say you can overhear all of that in your play dead tent.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Duke is gonna do anything
until
he gets more information, or if he hears like combat or something. Because right now he knows they're not going to come back and check the tent, so he's just going to hang out and listen.
Okay. All at once, what happens? So this is all of you see this. Eustace, you've been sort of moving. You've been moving with your coyote people in the direction of the light. You push yourself from between two of these homes, and you see this extraordinarily bright cul-de-sac. You see it's very familiar to you, though you don't recall it being so bright. There's a long table there, but there is something new. You see there is Lou and there is Jacques, and I'll say Jacques and Lou, the two of you see coming down. You got Eustace body on one shoulder, on the other he's kind of got like almost like a towel coming out of the bathroom of the fur pelt wrapped around in a little knot and he's got like 30 these coyotes that are just following around him as he comes out from between these two homes.
What have you been doing? How did you do this?
Come into the light and join your voice to the song to Mother Gaia.
I would love nothing better is to sing. I'm so tired. Okay.
Yes, let me take some of these bodies from you, and I can't sing, so I'll depend on you for that.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Eustace, if you add your voice to the song, I'll just add like an extra couple. What's your? You have decent performance, right? You're pretty high.
2. I'm better if I have an acoustic.
They don't have.
Yeah.
They hand you one over and it just falls through your hands because it's a spirit acoustic attack.
If I had an acoustic instrument, I would do better.
Okay, so we'll say you add your voice to the song, so you have this like this is going on, and the rest of you, as you do this, you start to hear like this distant, again, like someone's joining in. Selena, you're on the rooftop with Oren, and now the light in the distance that you two can look down, like you're staring up at this impossible sky. Then you look down, and all of this song from these different directions suddenly joins together, and it's all basically the same song. It's all different elements, different movements. It's the way in which you can hear one part of a kind of a classical piece suddenly start layering on later on as everything starts to weave together. And all of you then watch as one by one, all of the homes around you rip apart. And it's just like instant, one after the other. Selena, you and Oren actually fall and slide off. We'll see both of you just take a superficial physical damage, no big deal, as you two go tumbling to the ground. And then those of you that are in the cul-de-sac, you see that bright kind of yellow white light just whip out. You see the entire table disappear in front of you. All the spirits that had been sitting there disappear in front of you, and you are left standing in the middle of a cul-de-sac. You look around you, you see destroyed homes that are almost strangely split in two. You look up and you can see stars above you. You can see once again the distant mountains to the north. You can see the various floodlights that have been set up left and right. And Selena, same thing occurs to you. And when you look over and you take a look at the face of Oren Moonshadow, it's no longer disintegrating in front of you. It's just kind of repairing itself. And I think we'll end there. As you have expelled yourself and moved the thing kind of combined together to create a fairly good effect. But we'll see the fallout of this next time, I think. We'll sort of figure out how this happens. And all the bodies came with you. So the bloody bodies, Jacques, you have one. Eustace, you have two. They are Guru. They're going to heal, but it'll take some time. Okay.
Those poor little coyotes.
You have, and they're there too. You have literally like 30 coyotes around you. You're looking down. You're bringing them with you. You're taking care of them, Eustace. You're gonna walk them.
Honestly, I'm gonna buy that one thing where you mark a territory now. I'm just gonna run with the coyotes, and just everywhere the coyotes run, I'm gonna mark that territory. I'm gonna use that to justify my next purchase.
I think that sounds great. Okay, we'll pick up next time. We'll sort of resolve how we want this all to end, and then we'll kind of pick up from there. There is a loose gigantic spirit, but you also have the leader of the pack that is skilled at sort of tending to it. So it's probably more of their responsibility than yours at this point. But we'll resolve all of that next time. All right.
Nice.
All right. Let's do a couple closing plugs, and then we will get the hell out of here. We'll start with Jeremy. Jeremy, there is a Patreon that you periodically mention. If you'd like to
everybody's on Patreon, comics, maps, tokens, fun stuff. Check it out.
You said it too fast this time. I couldn't catch up. I was like,
I'm always watching the race.
He's so fast and efficient.
How quick Jeremy talks and how quick Jeff unmutes after, and it's always a race.
Yeah, because I don't ever hear my clicky. Let's see. Aaron, what's going on over on Garblag?
Let's see. Back starting next Tuesday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can catch Millie, the GM, continuing her Coriolis campaign. Then if you come back at Wednesday at the same time, you'll find me in the narrator's seat. We managed to get an episode off this week, and we'll be back next week to finish off The Friendly Neighborhood, which is the Rank 2 adventure in the Cataclysm of Kang, as we continue our Marvel Multiverse playthrough. And then next Thursday, Pete should be back running his own game, Heroic Deeds, old school feel with modern mechanics. He's running his players through the classic Red Hand of Doom adventure. And also, if you like what you see with his playthrough, and you think the game seems pretty cool, he's going to be bringing it to Kickstarter in February. So stay tuned for that. And if you check the Garblag Facebook page or the Discord, you can find a link to sign up for the notification when it launches.
Awesome. And we're probably gonna, I'm not sure exactly when yet, but we're probably gonna run some of it over here, either on Tuesday or tonight. Not sure yet, or on Thursday. Probably Tuesday, I think we talked about. So you're going to see it over here as well. So you can kind of get a peek at what that game is like. And then as for us, not sure yet actually about Friday and Saturday. We have a couple folks playing Hurt. So we might play our usual games of Delta Green and Call of Cthulhu. We might also just give them a chance to heal. We'll see how it goes. Then on Monday, we'll be back with Monster of the Week as per usual. So our zany, weird golf course horror. So come hang out for that. Tuesday, hopefully we will get back to Marvel Multiverse RPG, assuming Steven's up for it, as we are getting closer and closer to the end of that campaign. And then obviously next Thursday, we'll be back with more Werewolf. If you haven't checked out the YouTube, also check out Adventures in Lollygagging. Just search for it on YouTube. You'll find some stuff. All of our games are over there, including our other ongoing games, including Aaron's Warhammer 40k Wrath and Glory game, my Fragged Empire game. If you like space sci-fi, both of those will probably scratch that itch. And that's about it. Thanks to everyone out tonight. Thanks to, I know a few of you threw bits and such. I really do appreciate that. Hopefully Melissa thanked you. If she didn't, well, now you know what it's like to live with her. Thankless. That's what it is.
Wow. Terrible.
Still know where the stuff comes from. I don't mean to do that when I start the sentence, but I just end up there. I'm such a bad person. We're gonna raid Dork Tales, who are playing Changeling, which is awesome because I want to run Changeling some point. So anyway, follow the raid. We'll catch you all later. Bye bye.
Good night.
See ya.